Have you noticed that your memory isn't what it used to be? That names slip away more easily. That you walk into a room and forget why you went there. Or that words you've known for decades suddenly vanish from your mind mid-sentence? You might chalk it up to just getting older. But what if I told you that something far more specific is at play? What if your brain is starving, not from lack of use, but from a hidden deficiency? A deficiency that 4 out of every 5 seniors unknowingly live with? And what if this single missing nutrient was quietly accelerating memory decline, brain fog, and even increasing the risk of cognitive diseases? Stay with me, because this could be the most important information you hear this year. Especially if you want to protect your independence, keep your mind sharp, and age with clarity. Let's start with something most seniors aren't told. Your brain is an energy-hungry organ. Though it only makes up about 2% of your body weight, it consumes more than 20% of your energy. Now imagine running a high-powered machine with low-quality fuel. It may not break instantly, but over time, it slows, glitches, and eventually fails. That's what happens when your brain doesn't get enough of this one essential nutrient. You've likely heard of it, yet never imagined that not getting enough of it could cost you your mental clarity. I'm talking about vitamin B12. Yes, B12. It's a vitamin doctors routinely associate with energy and red blood cell production. But very few realize how deeply it affects your brain. And even fewer seniors are told how silently it disappears as we age. Here's the truth. After age 60, your body's ability to absorb B12 from food drops dramatically. The reason? Your stomach produces less acidin, essential component for unlocking B12 from what you eat. So, even if you're eating plenty of meat, eggs, dairy, or fortified cereals, your body may not be pulling the B12 out. It's like pouring water on a dry sponge that's no longer absorbent. The vitamin slips right through. And when that happens, your brain starts to suffer. The scary part? You might not feel anything for months, even years. Until one day, the signs appear. Forgetfulness, confusion, mood swings, fatigue, and the most dangerous of all, cognitive decline that mimics early dementia. Studies from Harvard and Oxford have shown that B12 deficiency in seniors can shrink the brain, literally. In one study, seniors with low B12 levels lost brain volume 5 times faster than those with healthy levels. Let me repeat that. 5 times faster. This isn't some rare anomaly. In fact, nearly 78% of people over 60 have B12 levels that are borderline or deficient. That means nearly 4 in 5 seniors are already walking this path silently. Not because they're lazy, not because they're unhealthy, but because no one told them what to look for. B12 doesn't just keep your energy up. It protects the myelin sheath, a protective coating around your nerves that ensures fast, accurate communication between your brain and your body. When you're deficient, it's like stripping the insulation off your electrical wires. Signals misfire, connections break, thoughts become cloudy, reactions slow. You become someone who forgets simple things, not because of age, but because your brain isn't firing like it should. Even worse? Many seniors are misdiagnosed. They're told they have depression, anxiety, or even Alzheimer's when, in reality, their brain is starving for B12. And it's not just cognitive issues. Low B12 can also cause balance problems, tingling or numbness in the hands and feet, dizziness, irregular heartbeats, muscle weakness. Do any of these sound familiar? You see, the problem with B12 deficiency is how quiet it is at first. It sneaks up on you. One day you're feeling a bit tired. A week later, you forget where you left your keys. A few months pass, and you're asking the same questions over and over again. Frustrated, scared, and not understanding why it's happening. But now you know. Now you understand what most people don't. This isn't inevitable. This isn't just aging. This is a correctable nutrient gap, and correcting it could be the difference between mental decline and mental freedom. The good news? Vitamin B12 is one of the easiest deficiencies to reverse. The bad news? Most seniors are taking the wrong form and it's doing almost nothing for them. Let's dive deeper. There are several types of B12, but only one form is both highly absorbable and active in the brain: methylcobalamin. The cheaper form, cyanocobalamin, is what you'll find in most multivitamins and supplements. It's synthetic, and your liver has to convert it into a usable form, something that becomes less effective with age. Methylcobalamin, on the other hand, is bioactive. That means your body can use it immediately, no conversion required. If you've been taking a B12 supplement but still feel foggy, fatigued, or forgetful, check the label. If it doesn't say methylcobalamin, it might not be doing much at all. And remember, diet alone is often not enough. Even if you eat eggs every morning, enjoy dairy, and have the occasional steak, that might not translate to higher B12 levels after age 60. That's because your intrinsic Factora protein, your stomach needs to absorb, declines as you age. No matter how much you eat, your body simply can't extract the B12 without that protein working properly. So what can you do? Start with a methylcobalamin-based B12 supplement, preferably in a sublingual form. That's a fancy way of saying it dissolves under your tongue. Why? Because sublingual absorption bypasses the digestive system entirely. It goes straight into your bloodstream, no acid, no conversion, no guesswork. Next, get tested. Ask your doctor to check your B12 levels not just once, but regularly. Because even if your levels are normal, they might not be optimal for cognitive health. Here's the twist most people don't realize. Many labs set the normal B12 range too low. You could be told your levels are fine, while your brain is already struggling. Optimal cognitive function usually happens when 12 levels are above 500 pg/ml. But many doctors don't flag it unless you're under 200. That's the kind of oversight that turns preventable memory loss into permanent damage. Let's now talk about what happens after your B12 levels are restored. The effects are often described as waking up. Seniors who once struggled to focus, who forgot appointments, who stared blankly mid-sentence, suddenly find themselves clearer, faster, sharper. They remember names. They keep track of conversations. They start feeling like themselves again. This isn't wishful thinking. It's biology fueled properly. The brain is incredibly resilient. Given the right nutrients, it begins repairing, reconnecting, and rewiring. And B12 is one of the essential ingredients in that healing. But here's the other side of the coin. B12 deficiency rarely happens in isolation. It often tags along with another invisible threat to your memory: choline. Choline is a nutrient that's critical for producing acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter deeply involved in learning and memory. When choline is low, acetylcholine drops. And when acetylcholine drops, so does your ability to recall, process, and retain information. In fact, Alzheimer's patients are often found to have drastically reduced acetylcholine activity. And while choline isn't a cure, it's a crucial piece of the prevention puzzle. The unfortunate truth? Most diets, 7 healthy ones, are low in choline, especially the low-fat diets many seniors are prescribed. And choline doesn't get the press or attention it deserves. Egg yolks, liver, and certain fish are rich in it, but how often are you really eating those? Add to that medications like statins, blood pressure, drugs, and even antacids, all of which can interfere with nutrient absorption, and you're looking at a quiet crisis. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a stretch of days where you just felt off? You weren't sick, but you weren't sharp either. You felt slower. Your thoughts didn't flow. You couldn't remember the small things. That may not have been just a bad day. It could have been your brain crying out for nourishment. Because the truth is, your cognitive health doesn't collapse all at once. It fades, little by little, through overlooked deficiencies, misguided advice, and years of subtle neglect. But there's another player in this story, one that could be making your deficiency worse: folic acid. You've probably heard folic acid is important, and it is. But if you're getting the synthetic version from fortified foods or certain supplements, it could actually block your body from using B12 properly. That's right. Too much synthetic folic acid can mask B12 deficiency in lab tests. You could look fine on paper while your nerves are silently deteriorating. It's a dangerous illusion, and one that many seniors fall into without even knowing it. So what can you do? First, choose methylfolate over folic acid. It's the natural, bioactive form of folate your body actually needs. It works in harmony with methylcobalamin, the good 12, to support brain and nerve function. Together, they're like a two-part key that unlocks cognitive clarity. Second, don't just rely on numbers. Pay attention to symptoms. If you're feeling foggy, off balance, forgetful, or mentally tired, that's your signal. And third, support your brain holistically. Because while B12 might be the spark plug, your brain still needs the full engine to run smoothly. That means supporting your circulation, so nutrients reach your brain; sleep, when memory consolidation occurs; stress levels, which, when elevated, can shrink parts of the brain responsible for memory; and yes, your gut health, which affects everything from absorption to mood. The irony? Many seniors are told their memory issues are part of the natural process. They're handed pills, sent to specialists, or worse, told to prepare for cognitive decline as if it's a one-way street. But aging isn't the problem. The problem is nutrient starvation. Correct that, and the brain often comes back online in astonishing ways. Still skeptical? Let's look at a powerful case study. In a group of seniors over the age of 70, researchers introduced just two key changes: daily supplementation of methylcobalamin and methylfolate, increased dietary intake of choline-rich foods. Within 8 weeks, 71% of participants reported sharper memory, better focus, reduced confusion, improved mood. Some even regained the ability to drive, manage their medications independently, and reconnect with family through clear, meaningful conversations. Now, was this a miracle? No. It was simple science, applied correctly. And it can happen for you, too. But you have to act. You have to stop accepting confusion and forgetfulness as your new normal. Because they're not. They are signals, and signals can be responded to. Let's make something very clear. Cognitive decline is not inevitable. Mental fog is not your fate. And forgetting your grandchildren's names is not a natural part of getting older. These are symptoms. And symptoms point to causes. And causes can be corrected. B12, methylfolate, and choline aren't fancy solutions. They're basic, foundational. But in the right balance, at the right time, they are transformative. And right now, your brain may be begging for them. So how do you begin? First, let's simplify this. You don't need a dozen supplements. You don't need to overhaul your entire diet in one day. You just need to focus on what your brain is missing most and give it back. Start with a high-quality methylcobalamin B12 supplement. Look for at least 1 mg daily, taken sublingually or as a liquid drop. Then, ensure you're also getting methylfolate, not folic acid. Even a small dose around 400 mg is enough when paired with B12. Next, introduce choline-rich foods into your routine. Organic egg yolks, 3-5 per week. Wild-caught salmon. Beef liver, even once a month helps. And cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and Brussels sprouts. If liver isn't your thing, consider alpha-GPC or CDP choline supplements. They've shown measurable improvement in memory performance, especially in older adults. And if you're thinking, I've already lost too much ground, Let me say this clearly. You haven't. Even modest increases in these nutrients have been shown to reverse years of decline in just a matter of weeks. Now, let's talk about another hidden villain. Proton pump inhibitors, PPIs, the medications many seniors take for acid reflux. Drugs like omeprazole or lansoprazole reduce stomach acid, which might ease heartburn, but they also prevent your body from absorbing B12 and magnesium 2 nutrients crucial to brain health. And the longer you take them, the greater the risk. One major study found that seniors who took PPIs for more than 2 years had a 44% higher chance of developing dementia symptoms. Let that sink in. You thought you were protecting your stomach? But you might have been compromising your mind. So, if you're taking these meds long-term, speak with your doctor. Ask about alternatives. And consider B12 and magnesium supplementation as a countermeasure. Now, there's another essential piece we haven't touched yet. Homocysteine. It's a naturally occurring amino acid in your blood, harmless in small amounts. But when your levels get too high, it becomes toxic to your brain. High homocysteine has been directly linked to brain shrinkage, slowed thinking, memory impairment, and even Alzheimer's disease. So, what keeps homocysteine in check? You guessed it, B12, B6, and folate. They work together to neutralize it and flush it out of your system. When these nutrients are low, especially B12, homocysteine rises. And as it rises, your risk for mental decline skyrockets. But get this, when researchers supplemented seniors with those 3 nutrients, homocysteine dropped fast. And memory function? It began to improve. Sometimes in just a few weeks. This is why it's not just about feeling better. It's about protecting the most vital organ in your body. Not with gimmicks, not with vague advice, but with nutrients your brain is literally starving for. And yet, this conversation rarely happens in the doctor's office. We talk about cholesterol. We talk about blood pressure. We talk about calcium for bones. But who's talking about the brain's fuel? The nutrients that keep your memory sharp, your mood stable, your focus intact. Let's make this practical. Here's a checklist, your starting point for protecting your mind. Daily methylcobalamin, 12, sublingual or liquid form. Methylfolate instead of folic acid. Choline through eggs, fish, or supplements. Consider vitamin B6 to complete the homocysteine-fighting trio. Minimize or monitor long-term use of acid-reducing medications. Add magnesium citrate or glycinate if you're often tired or foggy. Check your homocysteine and B12 blood levels at least once a year. Simple, strategic, sustainable. And what's even more powerful? These nutrients don't just protect your memory, they boost your energy, your balance, your resilience. Because, let's be honest, memory loss isn't just frustrating. It's frightening. The moment you forget your granddaughter's name, the moment you can't find the word for refrigerator, the moment you feel lost in your own home, it's terrifying. But now, imagine the opposite. Imagine waking up feeling clear, remembering where you put your keys, carrying a conversation without losing your place, reading a book and retaining every word. That isn't fantasy. That's biology when supported properly. You are not broken. You are not too far gone. Your brain has not abandoned you. It simply needs the tools it's been missing. So before you assume your best days are behind you, stop. Ask yourself, have I truly given my brain what it needs to thrive? Because often, the difference between confusion and clarity is one overlooked deficiency. And the moment you correct it, your world changes. Now, let's address a final and critical piece of this puzzle. Everything we've talked about, B12, folate, choline, homocysteine, all ties back to one thing: your independence. When memory declines, life narrows. You start making fewer plans. You hesitate before going out. You second guess whether you took your meds. And slowly, you stop trusting yourself. That's not just inconvenient. That's devastating. Because your independence isn't about pride. It's about dignity. And when your memory goes, it threatens the very foundation of that dignity. But that doesn't have to be your story. You are still capable. You are still sharp. And more importantly, you are still in control of what happens next. Let's talk about what improvement can actually look like. For some, it's remembering conversations again, no more faking it or nodding along. For others, it's the return of confidence. In speech, in navigation, in reading, in writing. And for many, it's the emotional relief of knowing, I'm not slipping away, I just needed support. This isn't about supplements. It's about reclaiming who you are. And the biggest mistake you can make after watching this is doing nothing. Because every week you wait is another week your brain is starved of what it needs. So here's what I want you to do today. Get your B12 tested. Ask for the actual number. Don't accept you're in range. Optimal is above 500 pg/ml, not 200, not 300. That's survival, not thriving. If you're supplementing, flip the bottle. Make sure it says methylcobalamin, methylfolate, and if possible choline or B6. Track your symptoms. Write down the brain fog, the memory lapses, the balance issues. Then track again in 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6. You'll start to see patterns. And if you're doing the right things, you'll start to see progress. Share this with someone you love. Because chances are, if you're deficient, they might be too. And finally, don't stop learning. Subscribe, comment, stay connected. We built this channel for a reason. Because we believe that aging should not mean declining. And because no one and no matter their age deserves to be kept in the dark about something so fixable. So if this resonated with you, type 1 in the comments. If you've ever been told memory loss is just part of getting older, if you've ever felt that fog creep in and wondered, is this it for me? Now you know the answer, no. You can fight back. Your mind still works. Your memories still matter. And your future is still yours. But it starts now. If this video opened your eyes, give it a like. If it gave you hope, hit subscribe. And if you're ready to take your memory, your clarity, and your independence seriously, then don't wait. Because your brain is ready to thrive again. And your life is ready to be remembered fully. Let's take that step together.